Welcome to Bougie and Boring, a spa business podcast. I'm Amanda Louisa, a licensed skincare professional and spa owner. This podcast is all about creating a business that's both high-end and effortless. What I like to call bougie and boring, because the goal isn't chaos and overwhelm, it's simplicity and ease. I'll show you how to build a spa that runs smoothly, feels inspiring, and is so well structured, it practically runs itself. You'll learn how to create a business that's not just successful, but truly enjoyable to own. Let's get right into it. Hello, welcome back to Bougie and Boring. If you're listening to this, you're probably at the point where you know it's time to hire, but now comes the next challenge in the process, which is attracting the right candidate. So oftentimes I see too many spa owners struggle to find good hires for many different reasons. Maybe because the job posting is either too generic or too demanding, or it just doesn't appeal to the kind of esthetician that the spa owner wants on their team. So in today's episode, I'm going to walk through exactly how to write a job description that makes the right people excited to apply to work at your spa. And it also will weed out the wrong people before they hit submit. So let's talk about how to write a job description that attracts the right candidates. And by the end of this episode, you'll have a clear, compelling job post that sets you apart and actually attracts the best estheticians. Now, if you're not looking to hire an esthetician right now, that's okay. You can still apply this to any other role that you are looking to hire, right? Because maybe you already have estheticians and you need a front desk or a spa attendant or a virtual assistant, a marketing director, whatever the case is. You can still apply these things to find the right candidate for you. Just apply it to whatever it is that you're needing on your team. So first, I really want to address why most job posts fail. And I kind of mentioned it a minute ago, but a big reason is because they can sometimes be too vague. These are job posts that I think just like a general esthetician wanted with a few bullet points about experience, or there's just nothing that makes your spa stand out, right? So it's just too vague, it's too general. It's kind of like, was there even any effort put into this? So that's one thing that I notice. It's not as often that I notice that one, but it is probably in the top 3. The next one is the most common, and that is that the job posting is too demanding. It's too wordy. It's just, there's nothing in it that is exciting. It's just a long list of requirements with no mention of why someone would want this job. It kind of reads like a set of rules more than an opportunity. And we need to show them why they would love to work for you. So that's probably one of the biggest things that I see when I'm working with my clients. And then also, they're just not speaking to the right person. They're not speaking to the right candidate for them. So a job posting that's too formal might scare off a warm, personable esthetician. And just as well, a post that's too casual might attract someone who's unprofessional. I personally have gone in both of these directions where it was way too formal and I wasn't liking the candidates I was getting, so I made it a little casual. And that got me a little bit farther, but I kind of have some checkpoints that I make sure that candidates go through and pass through before they can move on to the next stage. And I'll kind of talk about the first one in this episode later on, but what I noticed is, although I got farther along with a more casual job posting, it was attracting some people that were just not professional, or they were just not a good fit for the values and the culture that I wanted to create. So if you define your spa culture, you'll attract, or if you don't define your spa culture, you'll attract anyone and everyone. And that's not what you want. You want the right people to be applying so that you're not wasting your time, and you can really weed out the people that are legit and the ones that are not. So if your job post is unclear or overly strict, you'll either get no applications or, even worse, the wrong applications. So just a couple of those things to keep in mind. So how do you write a standout job description? The first thing is make sure that you're clear. Clear is kind, as Brene Brown says. So make sure you say, what exactly will this esthetician be doing? Make sure they know what to expect before they apply. If you're hiring a lash artist, but they don't see that anywhere on the job application, you might be getting facial focused estheticians applying instead. So you need to say what this esthetician is going to be doing and focusing on. That way you can automatically get those types of applicants. Another thing is to talk about what services they'll be expected to perform, what experiences or skills are required versus preferred. So for many, many years, I really preferred to hire people that are straight out of school and just passing their boards. I love the eagerness that comes with someone fresh out of school, and I still do, don't get me wrong. I have started hiring more estheticians with years and years and years of experience. And so, I've hired people who literally got their license on their very first day that they worked with me. And then I've worked with estheticians who've been in the industry for over 15 years, or I've hired estheticians who've been in the industry over 15 years. So it's important that you list what is required versus what is preferred. And this is going to be a personal preference thing, because if you get someone fresh out of school, they're not going to have as many skills as maybe you would want your person to have. So if you want them to be skilled in microblading, but they don't have a tattoo license and they've never touched a person's eyebrows before, or they just have never actually had that done, or they've never done it to somebody else, that might be something that you require, that they have at least 2 years of experience. Now, that applicant might be expecting more in compensation, which is totally reasonable, because that is going to then save you time, which means you are going to then need to spend more money. Versus preferred. You can say things like 2 years of waxing preferred, or 1 year of lash extensions required. So make sure that you figure out what that is, what it means for you, and what you're willing to train on if it is required versus preferred. So the second thing that's really important to make sure that you mention in your job description is to describe the culture and values of your spa. So what is it like to work at your spa? What kind of team dynamic do you have? What values are most important to you? Something that I make sure my team knows is our core values. We've got 5 of them. I can rattle them off immediately right now. And I expect the same thing of my team, because we always go back to those core values, especially when we're making a big decision. So, like when COVID hit, our core values are be kind, be open, be safe, be reliable, and family first. So those are our 5 core values for my spa. And when COVID hit, at first, everyone was confused and kind of like, why is everyone getting all worked up? Then we realized what was really going on. And when we didn't know what to do, because it was so confusing and chaotic and nobody knew what to do at the time. This was before there were any mandates to close or anything like that. So when we didn't know what to do, we then leaned on our core values and we said, okay, well, if we stay open, is this the kind thing to do? You could argue it in both directions. Is it being reliable? At the time, we were like, well, people can rely on us to, we're probably some of the safest because we are constantly disinfecting, sanitizing, cleaning things. So we're like, okay, but then we hit, are we being safe? Right? One of our core values is be safe. And that's the one that said, we can wear masks and we can clean really well and we can air things out. But it was getting to a point where things were looking like it was going to start shutting down. And so that's when we made the decision to close our spa at the time, we all thought it was just going to be 2 weeks. And so we ended up closing before there was a mandate, but we leaned on our core values at that time because it was a decision that we didn't know how to make the right call on. So that's why it's important to have those core values in your business and to lean on them when you need to make a big decision. And that's something that you need to describe in your job description. So, just write whatever yours are. I don't recommend having more than 5 because it can just get lost in translation. But, having 2 or 3 is really awesome. So just remember that hiring isn't just about the skill, it's about the fit. If your spa is fast paced, if you are really trying to stick to a time standard, you need to say that in the description. If your focus is on luxury and relaxation, you need to say that too. The more specific that you are, the more likely you are to attract someone that aligns with your vision and repel the ones that don't. Okay? You want to repel candidates that are not a good fit. All right? So now, the third thing to include in your application. This thing is probably the most important thing that you will learn from this entire episode. So please, whatever you're doing, if you're multitasking, come back to me, zone in, get out your notebook and paper because this is something that you need to really pay attention to, okay? When you are asking for applications, you need to have specific instructions to filter out the bad fits. What do I mean by this? I personally require a very specific subject line with their resume. And if someone sends me their resume and it doesn't have that subject line, I delete it. I don't even waste my time. I don't even bother because that tells me this person cannot follow directions right from the get-go. She can't follow directions and I can't have someone on my team that I can't trust to do things in the way that I've asked. So that's probably the biggest and easiest way to kind of filter out applicants. Another great one that I've heard is to have the applicant send in their resume and cover letter with their MBTI in the subject line. And this is kind of like a twofold thing, right? So it tells me, can they follow directions and can they be resourceful? Because not a lot of people know what an MBTI is, your Myers-Briggs type indicator. And it's not to like, only hire people of a certain personality type. No, this is genuinely to see, can you do a basic Google search? Can you look something up if you don't know the answer to it? Because there are going to be times when I'm not available and I need you to be resourceful. And so this is the very first step that is going to tell me if that person is going to be resourceful or not. Another thing that I've seen is mention to them to answer a question in the cover letter. So like, tell me about your favorite service to perform and why, or tell me if you grew up in the town that my spa is located in or not, and what your favorite part of it is. Just something very specific, but not too personal, it's just to see, like, can they follow directions, and then, just mention that professionalism and communication matters, because if they cannot email properly, they probably won't be able to interact professionally with your clients, especially if you have a spa phone that stays at the spa and you're texting people or you're emailing people back. If this person is not able to do those things in a professional manner and communicate well, that's not someone you want representing your business. So this will really help to weed out applicants who just can't follow directions or just know how to be resourceful, right? So it's going to save you so much time right from the start. And I will mention with a couple of my coaching clients what, I'll give you an example, actually. This is a really good example. So 2 different clients of mine, let's call one of them Barbara. And so Barbara comes to me and she's like, hey, Amanda, I did the thing that you said. I had them, put their MBTI in the subject line of the email that they send their resume with. And one girl emailed me and said, oh, what's an MBTI? And I wasn't sure how to respond to that. And I said, you respond by deleting it, because the purpose of hiring someone is to make your life easier. It is not to put more work on your plate. And that's exactly what that person did. They were putting it back on you to do the work for them. And that is not someone that you want on your team. You want someone that's going to brainstorm ideas and come to you with solutions, not someone who's like, I don't know what to do, so I just didn't do it. That's not how we're going to start this. Now, another gal, let's call her Wendy. She said, hey, this potential esthetician sent me an email and she was asking, do you want my MBTI from the paid version, or is it okay that I give it to you from a free online quiz? That one I said was okay, because that tells me she wasn't asking what is an MBTI. She was asking for the owner's preference, which to me is coming to the owner with solutions, right? She's coming to her. She's like, hey, I have all this data. I just want to make sure that I am doing it the way that you like. And if you have a preference, I don't mind which one. I just need to know which one. That's what I heard when my client was telling me this. So that was a green flag for me, right? So they're both candidates that asked about the MBTI, but notice the difference. Notice how one came with solutions and one just put the problem right back on the owner's plate. So keep an eye out for stuff like that and don't let it distract you. Okay? So now let's talk about where to post your job description. A very easy answer is everywhere. But here are some places that I always like to recommend to people that you don't always think about. So the first is a careers page on your website, right? And I hope that you have easy access to be able to edit your own website. And that way, if you don't have a careers page yet, it's time to make one, right? So even if you're not hiring right now, I always recommend collecting resumes for the future. you can always reach back out to the people that have applied and say, hey, I'm going to be hiring in the next month. Send me an email with this in the subject line and your updated resume. Boom, that's it. And whoever replies the right way will get, moved on to the next phase of the hiring process, right? So a great hire might come along before you're ready to hire them. And having a page on your website makes it so easy to stay prepared, because you never know when all of a sudden you're going to need the help, and you don't want to have to start the process and have crickets. Instead, you're just going to go in and pull from this big, beautiful bucket of applicants. So start before you're ready, for sure. Another one is, Facebook groups and Instagram. If you have a really good Instagram following, which I hope that your Instagram following are all local people and not just your other esthetician spa owner friends from all over the country or even other countries. That's a whole other podcast episode, and maybe I will invite my friend Giselle onto the podcast to talk more about that, because when you are attracting people to your Instagram, you want to make sure that they are all local. So Facebook groups, Instagram, make sure they're all local. Post in the local esthetician and spa industry groups. Share a story or a reel about the hiring process. Encourage your followers and clients to share the posts that you're putting up. Sometimes your next hire is already a client or already in your audience. I personally have hired quite a few people who were a part of my Instagram following and by word of mouth of my employees. So that is a great way to get your foot in the door, but it doesn't guarantee that that person is going to actually get hired, right? So the next one that I personally have found to be the best place, especially if you're wanting to hire estheticians fresh out of school, is to go to the local school or like training centers or anywhere that, that are offering CEUs. Build relationships with those schools and those training centers, and even like the supply houses locally in your community. So build those relationships and even say like, hey, I'm hiring for an esthetician. Do you mind if I put a flyer on the door? If they say no, fine, that's okay. But don't give up and keep asking, because there are so many people that are itching to either find a new job or start their career as an esthetician. So many students are actively looking for work and eager to learn, especially fresh out of school. So reach out to the instructors and build that good relationship, because they will refer the best students to you, and you'll kind of get an insight of who is going to be a good quality candidate and who's not. So if you're only posting on job boards, you're really missing out on some of the best candidates. Okay, so that is all I have for you today. Your next step is to update your job description. And you can do this by using my free esthetician job description template if you'd like. That's going to be linked down below. You can also just go to amandaluisaconsulting.com and click on resources at the top, and I have a whole list of everything that I have there. And post your job description in at least 2 new places this week, okay? Or at least reach out to someone that you know a relationship would benefit both of you, like an instructor or the local beauty shop. And then be specific and clear. Engage with the person on the other side so that the right estheticians are excited to apply. And they will be. I've had people reach out months later and say, hey, I really like your spa. I love the culture and the dynamic and what you stand for, and I would love to be a part of your team. Do you think you're going to be hiring soon? And I find that so endearing. Obviously, it's a wonderful ego boost, but it also tells me that people are interested. So you want to make sure that you have that beautiful pool of applicants before you're ready. So next week, coming up, we're going to talk all about where to find the best estheticians for your spa. I kind of hinted at it a little bit in today's episode, but having a great job posting is only half the battle. You also need to know where to look for the top talent. So thanks for tuning in. I cannot wait to talk to you in the next episode. Peace and love, my friend. If you found value in today's conversation, don't forget to subscribe or share with a spa owner friend. You can also leave a review on iTunes and in the comments section, ask any question you want, and I'm so happy to answer it right here on the podcast. Ready for the next step? Schedule a free 30-minute discovery call to see how I can help you with your business. You can also head over to amandaluisaconsulting.com and grab a free resource. I've got so many good ones over there. Whether it's hiring, paying yourself more, overcoming burnout, I've got you covered with resources to help make your business bougie and boring. Peace and love, my friend. I'll talk to you soon.